This task is from our Systems of Equations and Inequalities unit with a lesson focusing on graphing systems of equations. The students are going to be given the two equations that you can see, and we are going to have them graph them on the same coordinate plane. We want the students to analyze and do a comparison based on the linear equations that they've graphed on their own individually, now in comparison to having two different equations graphed on the same coordinate plane. After the students have graphed, we want them to look at what point both equations have in common and then what that point might mean. So, how you could algebraically convince someone else that the point you wrote is a solution to both equations. As you can see from the graph, the point 2, -3 should be the point that students identified as the point of intersection and the only point that both equations have in common on this graph. As you're walking around, you definitely want to listen to the conversations happening and listen for what words students are using when they're trying to explain algebraically how this point is a solution to both equations. As part of the consolidation, we really wanted to work with the students on trying to make connections to real world examples. So we asked them, what would you need to consider or think about if you were going to start a job? What if you wanted to start mowing lawns or babysitting? What would you need to consider? Usually the students say, how much money would I be making first? Which is fantastic because that can lead us into the next. So we could say, well, you could probably make a graph showing how much you would make per lawn or per hour, whatever it is you're looking at. But what else would you need to consider? And we give them a little bit of time to think about this, talk through this, and we say specifically, what if you were going to do mowing lawns? What would you need to think about? And usually we get them to the place of they consider, well, I would need a lawnmower, I'm going to need gas. So we start talking about the fact that there's going to be some cost associated with this job as well. So you could have an equation that shows how much money you're making, and then you could have an equation that's showing what it's costing you to run the business of mowing lawns. This could be thought of as well with a job when you're older as far as gas money. How much money are you making, and then how much are you spending on gas each time? Or if you're babysitting and you want to bring crafts and activities for them to do, what does it cost for you to do that? And at what point are you making money? We then showed students this example from Lumen Learning, and it's looking at the quantity of units that need to be sold in order to make money. And this is just an example of a business where they have maintenance costs and upkeep costs and just purchases you have to make outright first. So we look at this system of equations and we see there's an orange line and then there's the blue line. So the blue line is kind of showing us our cost when we first start. What is it costing us? And then we can see the other line is showing revenue. The point of intersection is considered the break-even point. It's where the cost of running the business and mowing the lawns, so to speak, is balancing out with the revenue. So you're just breaking even. You're not losing money, but you're not making money. So anything past that break-even point is where we would consider profit. So the cost of running it is lower than what we are bringing in. So it's just a good example to tie to see how systems can be looked at in everyday life.